Good afternoon, Marietta here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here with another video. Just want to talk to y'all a little bit about the eviction notices that are being put out right now in the land. There's a lot of evictions going on due to the fact that people are getting laid off. People are not able to pay their bills, they're not able to pay their rent, but there's a lot of evictions that are going on, and some of you don't understand the reasons why you're being evicted. So I'm going to give you a few reasons why you can be evicted. Even with the layoffs that's going on, even though we're in the midst of this recession, even though we're dealing with less money than what we had before, or put it this way, we're able to buy less with the money that we already have. Even if you have the same income that you had last year, it just seemed like everything has been inflated. The price of everything being inflated, and it's causing people to be evicted from their units. Landlords are passing out eviction notices, and they're passing them out with no remorse whatsoever. In this season, they too are going through something. So the landlords are paying close attention to who's paying and who's not, so they're getting evicted. And the number one reason why I'm seeing a lot of people that are getting evicted right now is because of non-payment of rent. Non-payment of rent. You know, this is the most common reason why people get evicted. I mean, people are really struggling right now with income, finances, struggling with having enough money to feed their families, struggling with having enough money to even, think about paying the rent in full. So the landlords are not accepting partial payments. They're not accepting the fact of you paying them next week. They want their money and they want it now. This is what we're dealing with right now in the land, that the landlords are evicting anybody and everybody who does not abide by the rules right now, because they too are struggling. I keep telling y'all, there are people too. Tenants being late with their rent, tenants paying half of the rent, tenants just not paying no rent at all. Just put it like that. Let's call it a thing. They decide they're not going to pay no rent at all. And the landlords cannot continue to keep carrying you. They are not your parents. They cannot carry you. They got bills to pay. They got lives to lead. So therefore you have to pay your rent. So, and then if you're not paying the rent, it seems like you just feel as though that, some people feel as though they can just be in violation of their lease. I mean, violating your lease will also get you put out. You got to be able to work with these people. You got to be able to speak and let them know what's going on with you. Sometimes they may give you a break, and they may give you a chance to be a few days late, even though they have laws and rules and regulations that they have to follow as well before they evict you. But yet and still, if you do not pay your rent and you continue to let other people come in to the unit, and you decide that you want to lease, violate your lease, the lease is a binding agreement between you and the landlord. So when you sign that lease, that means you signed up to obey the laws of that, the rules and regulations of that unit and the laws of your state, and you are actually in violation when you decide that you want to step out your boundaries and you want to handle things your own way, and you want to do what you want to do in them people's unit, and you just cannot do it. You just cannot do it. You cannot sublease a room in that house. You cannot, some places they may let you renovate far as a limited amount of renovation, far as painting and things of that nature. If they tell you can't have no dogs or cats in the unit, you just cannot have no dogs and cats in the unit. You got to respect those people's space and respect those people's guidelines. It's just there's no way around it, because you are renting. You are a renter in that unit. So because you're a renter in that unit, you clearly have to abide by the laws of that unit. And when you start thinking of unoccupied, unauthorized occupancy, you're putting people in the unit. They're not supposed to be there. It's almost like you're your own worst enemy, and you're the weapon that's formed against yourself. The word says no weapon formed against itself prosper. But when you're the weapon that's formed against yourself, you got to understand that you're putting yourself in harm's way when you do these type of things. And you also are putting your children in harm's way. If you have children, they have to get put out with you. You cannot allow people that are not on the lease to live in that unit. That's just simple as that. You just cannot do it. You don't own the place. You're renting. Get in the mirror and say it. I'm renting. I can't sublease this apartment. I can't do no property damage to this apartment. I can't disturb the neighbors. All these are reasons why you get put out. And when you start trying to sublease a place, and you start trying to charge somebody else for a place that you're renting, and you haven't even talked to the landlord about it, you trying to turn a 2-bedroom into a 3 or 4 or 5 bedroom to accommodate people that are not on the lease so that you can make extra money. You're not in position to do all of that. If that is not in the lease agreement, you are in violation of your lease. And it just seems like, I know we need help. I know you need other people to help support that income. And it's a known fact that it does take 2 or 3 people to pay the rent nowadays because the rent is so high. But you cannot take a rental unit and turn it into what you want it to be. So you cannot sublease that rental unit and expect the landlord to be okay with that. Let me see, how can I say this? Because so many people are talking to me. I'm hearing so many people getting evicted. The eviction notices are coming. When you step out of line right now, everybody is on high alert. People are on edge. People are worried about how they're going to pay their bills. And then they're worried about property damage. Property damage, when you start putting a lot of people in one place, it can cause some property damage. And the landlords are worried about their property being destroyed. And if you're not doing things the right way and you're not talking to them and you're not showing them that you care about their unit and you're not respecting their place, they're going to start proceedings on how to put you out. They're going to start proceeding on how to put you out. Because, when you damage a property, it costs a lot of money to fix that property. Property beyond, like, I'm not talking about, your normal wear and tear. You're going to get some normal wear and tear. You might get some little scuffs on the floors, scuffs on the wall and things of that nature. But when you start talking about property damage, when you get more people in a place and they get rowdy and they start acting out and they start, wearing the floors down because they're running in and out like a revolving door. They hitting the walls and pushing doors and breaking holes in the walls and things of that nature. Or they start breaking things and they does not go report it because you don't want the landlord to know that somebody else is in there. So therefore, you get all kinds of damage to the place. All kind of damage can be done. And then that also disturbs the neighbors. It also disturbs the neighbors because you got to understand that when you're living in a rental unit, whether it be apartment or private property, people notice who comes around their house as well. They may not be in their yard, but they notice these vehicles coming and going. They notice this situation being set up, and they're not interested in going through the hassle of staying up all night while you party all night, staying up all night while you disturb them, and they got to go to work while you're home and you're engaging in a whole bunch of foolishness with people running in and out and smoking and doing all kinds of craziness in the middle of the night. People ain't got time for that. People be trying to work. And I know a lot of people might say, well, I'm renting my unit and they got to respect my time and my space too. Everybody needs to respect everybody. There should be a certain hour that you should cut that noise down. There should be a certain hour that you should have people that don't live there should be going home. If you got overnight guests, your overnight guests should be in your yard, respectfully respecting the neighbors that are in your area, because that's where you have to live. So because you don't want to get evicted, you will have your company respect that area, respect the people that's in it, and respect the neighbors. Eviction notices are coming. People are getting laid off. Eviction notices are coming. Landlords have to raise the rent due to whatever reason they have to raise the rent. Eviction notices are coming because y'all don't understand that they too have overhead that they got to pay, such as property taxes. They got to pay their property taxes. They may have insurance, all kinds of things that they have to pay, so you got to understand that the landlords are in a predicament as well, where it comes to them having to eat the cost of the rising inflation like everybody else. The same way these tariffs are going to be passed on to the people, the things that these landlords go through as far as in their lifetime of renting, those costs are going to also be passed on to the people. You get in there and you damage that unit, and they have to raise the price on that unit so they can get some people in there that's going to respect their unit. The price of that is going up. You get in there and you tear that unit up, and then they have to sue you for the amount of that unit. I mean, it's just the way it is. Eviction notices are coming. Eviction notices are coming. So many eviction notices are coming. So many eviction notices are hitting the land right now. And right now the eviction notices are coming, and people don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. And there's going to be more eviction notices. Right now, while we got this time right now, you need to be setting yourself up to be able to live in a way where you can be able to afford yourself, where you could be able to help somebody if you need help. help somebody and let somebody help you. You know, I know all the states got their own laws about eviction, and all the states got their own rules and regulations about what eviction looks like. But landlords will evict you in this season. They don't care nothing about your responsibility, because that's not their business. You are responsible for paying your rent to them, and that's all they want is their money. They don't care nothing about what else you got going on, reasons why you can't pay, or who you loan money to, or your job laid you off, or this, that, and other. They don't care nothing about that. That's not their business. All they know is they rented you a unit, and they expect to get paid for that unit. And if you can't pay for that unit, they really truly expect you to vacate that unit and not take them to through a bunch of foolishness, because they have a bill to pay too. They also got bills, and they got rules and regulations that they got to abide by too when it comes to paying their bills. Yes, so I mean, I just want to let y'all know that eviction notices are coming. If you're sitting in these units, even if you went in court and you sat there for a year and they take you through a whole bunch and you take them through a whole bunch, eventually you got to give these people back their place. Eventually, sometime you got to get up out of there. I've not heard of too many where you go to court and they actually take these people places and give them to you. Landlords must follow strict guidelines. I mean, they have strict legal processes, you know, before they can evict a tenant. You know, they typically involves, you know, a written notice. They have to give you your written notice. Yeah, they do have to give you your written notice and all that. And there may be a few things they have to do depending on what state you're in. But yet and still, that eviction notice is coming. All these layoffs that's going on in land is causing people to be evicted from their very home. Some of them been in them homes for years. Some of them been paying their rent faithfully up until they got the eviction. And they feel it's totally unfair. And it is. And it's hurtful for you to have to leave the place that you have been fixing up, and you put all your hard-earned money into it, and you love it and whatnot. But the fact still remains, sweetheart, it does not belong to you. You were renting. You were a tenant. You signed the document. You signed a contract to pay rent. Eviction notices are coming. Eviction notice is coming just as fast as these layoffs are going. Just as fast as these layoffs are happening, these 9-to-5 jobs are being taken away from people, so is their living conditions, so are their homes. Eviction notices are coming. Landlords are coming hard with the eviction notices. Why? Because they got bills to pay too. They got responsibility. They got to raise the rents on these places. Then raising the rent, meaning they got to raise the rent, and sometimes the people that are in there are already struggling with the rent that they have. So when the landlord has to raise the rent, it's a sad day. It's just a sad day, because of the fact that you can't afford that extra $300 or $400 or $500 that he's about or she's about to raise the rent. So you try to talk to the landlord, let the landlord know you have no family, you have nowhere to go. You may not even be in the state where your family is, or you may just have to, I'm not in the state where my family is. So you got to really be careful of how you move with your dollar in this season. You got to make sure you're using your money in a respectful way so that you can be able to pay your bills. A lot of the things that you used to have to buy or used to be able to buy frivolously with no thought of it, because of the fact that things were a little cheaper. Now things are getting tight. Things are getting really tight in this land, and they're getting very uncomfortable for a lot of people. A lot of times we don't even know what's going to happen when we wake up in the morning. There are so many different laws, so many different rules and regulations that are changing day by day in this land. And because of that, you got to start being more responsible with the very dollar that you have. And you got to be able to know that if you can get a hustle on right now, I mean, they got Grubhub, they got DoorDash, they got all these they got YouTube. Get on YouTube, get on one of these platforms and try to figure out how to get you a few extra dollars coming in so that you can make sure that you can provide for your rent. And when it comes down to you having extra money, there is no extra money. There is no more extra money. Don't count no dollars coming to your house as extra money, because nothing is extra, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow from one day to the next. Right now, we're living in so much uncertain times, we don't even know how to move ourselves. But eviction notices are coming. I'm letting y'all know right now, the eviction notices are coming. They're hitting the land. They're hitting the land now more frequently than they ever did before, and they're coming faster. People are not able to pay their rent. Some of them are able to pay their rent, and they just refuse to pay. And then you got those that are just spenders, that are just spenders, that are not thinking about what's happening in the land. They don't see what's going on. They refuse to recognize that we're in trouble. They refuse to recognize that we're in the middle of a recession. They refuse to recognize that the world is going downhill and things are getting tight, and they're going to get tighter. They're not prepping their food pantries. They're not saving their money to try to be able to figure this thing out, because you're going to have some money when things begin to shut down. So many places are shutting down. Eviction notices are coming. Eviction notices are coming to the residential areas, to the business area, district. Eviction notices are coming. And so you're running a business out of your home and you have not told the landlord about that. That is reason for eviction. You got too much traffic coming and going. You got too many people seeing this and witnessing this. You got too many people calling the landlord 24/7, letting him know that this place is off the chain, that it's a revolving door. There's too many people hanging around it. It's an unsafe situation that they see for everybody involved. Eviction notices are coming. Know that the eviction notices are coming, and eviction notices are coming, and they're going to be stuck in your door, knocked on your door. Even if the sheriff have to come and put you out, the eviction notices are coming. Just know that if you continue to live this type of life and you refuse to abide by the rules and you refuse to listen to what it is that the landlords have to say and abide by the rules of their unit, eviction notices are coming. And God knows I don't want to see no more eviction notices keep hitting the land, but I know they're coming, and I know they're going to hit. And so many men, women, and children are being put to the street, coming home, and they have been put out where they have been to court, and then they got 7 days to get your stuff and vacate the premises, and then you couldn't get your stuff, so you lose everything. You lose all your stuff. If you know you can't afford to pay your rent, start figuring out how you can get a storage unit to be able to save your belongings, so that when you do get back up on your feet, you may have some things to be able to start all over with, instead of allowing yourself to be in that position where you just sit there and do nothing and think that you're winning by holding up somebody else's unit, and then they come and they put you completely smooth all the way out on the street with all your belongings, and then you're going to need somebody to help you to get a U-Haul to be able to put those things in storage. So when you see yourself falling behind, you see yourself not being able to pay, you see you going down that road, and you see that your income is limited, start figuring out how you could at least get a storage unit so you can be able to save your belongings, because you should not have to be in a place where you may not be able to pay all your rent, but you should be able to take some of that money and be able to save your belongings, and maybe start seeing who you can go and live with, who you can partner up with, who you can get to help you out, and maybe organizations, somebody to be able to help you out before you get to a place of eviction. Because trust and believe, evictions are coming. I just feel it in my spirit. I see it in my prayer when I'm praying. It's just like the Spirit is leading me to let the people know eviction notices are coming. They are coming. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for this like you're preparing yourself for everything else. Prepare yourself to be able to leave this unit early before you end up with absolutely nowhere to go and nobody to talk to. Know that eviction notices are coming. And so you cannot pay that rent. And so you lose your job. And so you don't have no place to go. Eviction notice is still coming. Nothing you can say can stop a landlord from evicting you sooner or later. It may take a while. I'm not saying that they can do it overnight, because they got, like I said again, they have to go through the legal process. They got rules and regulations, but eventually the judge is going to one day give them their place back. I know someone who was a landlord, and it took him a whole year to get this woman out of his unit, but eventually she still had to go. He didn't charge her no back rent, no nothing. He just wanted her to get out of his unit. So therefore that was a blessing there. But some people still want that back rent. Some people are going to still fight you for that back rent. Eviction notices are coming. So I just want to let y'all know, put y'all on notice that right along with these job layoffs, there's a lot of evictions that are hitting the land. There's a lot of overhead that the landlords are not planning on sucking up. They're going to pass it on to the tenants. And so you cannot absorb that impact. Know that eviction notices are coming, and be safe. I love y'all, and if you stayed here this long, please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. I'd love to have you over here, and so many people are watching, but they're not subscribed. So please feel free to subscribe. It truly does help the channel, and it'll begin to help us grow, because we are on a journey for 10K over here. Can you please also turn your notification bell on if you like what you heard, and you would love to be a part of the group. Turn your notification bells on so you would be notified when I drop my next video, because what I like to do is uplift, motivate, and inspire, and that's what I pray this video will do. It will uplift you, and it will actually inspire you and get you on the way of a healthy in a healthy living situation where you don't have to be worried about when you're going to get evicted. So if nobody never told you, please listen to this video 2 or 3 times. Know that if you're in any of these situations, eviction notices are coming. Be blessed.